Good morning, City Light. Hope you guys are doing well. We're having another remote service today on the off chance that it may be snowing tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So I'll have 4 songs of worship here, and we'll have some announcements, and then Christian will give a teaching. So we'll just pray and we'll get right into it. Dear Lord, thank you for today, and I thank you for the opportunity to worship you and just be with you. I invite you here now, be with me, and I pray that this would just be a time of reflection and submission. Just whatever you want to do in our hearts and minds, Lord, we let you in. Amen. I tried so hard to see it. It took me so long to believe it. You choose someone like me to carry your victory. Perfection could never earn it. You give what we don't deserve, and you take the broken things and raise them to glory. You are my champion. Giants fall when you stand undefeated. Every battle you've won. I am who you say I am. You crown me with confidence. I am seated in the heavenly place, undefeated, with the one who has conquered it all. Now I can finally see it. You're teaching me how to receive it. So let all the striving cease. This is my victory. You are my champion. Giants fall when you stand undefeated. Every battle you've won. I am who you say I am. You crown me with confidence. I am seated in the heavenly place, undefeated, with the one who has conquered it all. When I lift my voice and shout, every wall comes crashing down. I have the authority that Jesus has given me. When I open up my mouth, miracles start breaking out. I have the authority that Jesus has given me. Oh, when I lift my voice and shout, every wall comes crashing down. I have the authority that Jesus has given me. And when I open up my mouth, miracles start breaking out. I have the authority that Jesus has given me. You are my champion. Giants fall when you stand undefeated. Every battle you've won. I am who you say I am. You crown me with confidence. I am seated in the heavenly place, undefeated, with the one who has conquered it all. With the one who has conquered it all. Your presence is all I need. It's all I want and all I seek. And without it, there's no meaning. Your presence is the air I breathe, the song I sing.
There will be no one like you, and no one besides you. You alone are worthy of all praise. There will be no one like you, and no one besides you. You alone are worthy of all praise. And I will exalt you, Lord, and I will exalt you, Lord. No other name be lifted high, and I will exalt you, Lord, and I will exalt you, Lord. No other name be lifted high. And I stand before you, awed by your majesty. Covered by your mercy, your blood has made me free. Draw me to you and set my heart on fire. And I wanna know you. You're my one desire. I give you my worship and all of my passion. I give you my whole heart and all my devotion. captivate me, you lover of my soul, and I give you my worship, all of my passion. I give you my whole heart, all my devotion, and here I will bow down and say that I need you, and here I will worship and say I love you, and oh how I love you, and oh how I love you, and oh how I love you, oh how I love you. And I want to know you, let your spirit overwhelm me, let your presence overtake my heart. And I want to know you, let your spirit overwhelm me, let your presence overtake my heart. And I want to know you, let your spirit overwhelm me, let your presence overtake my heart. Oh, I want to know you, let your spirit overwhelm me, let your presence overtake my heart. Oh, I want to know you, let your spirit overwhelm me, let your presence overtake my heart. And I want to know you, let your spirit overwhelm me, let your presence overtake my heart.
I think this may be my favorite worship song of all time. It's a little bit of an old one. Just because, yeah, I mean, there's no more clear goal, I guess, in Christianity or in life for me, or more apparent and obvious goal than to know God. To know Him and understand His personality and who He is. and it's truly for me, understanding his character, just aligning or feeling part of his character for just a moment is the most overwhelming thing. Whether just, in prayer or in worship. Us asking him to reveal his character and his nature to us. Whether it's, how much he loves us or how good he is. When we just get one glimpse of who he is, I just feel like that's the most overwhelming thing. And I want to know you, that your spirit overwhelm me, that your presence overtake my heart. And I want to know you, that your spirit overwhelm me, that your presence overtake my heart. You meet me on the mountaintop. You see me in the valley low. There is no home without you here. And I find you in the crowded thoughts. You quiet all the question arts. There is no space your love won't fill. And I'll trade all my fear for peace of mind, and all my heaviness for burdens light. This will be my song, as you are always good. I'll sing it all day long, that you are always good. And when the day is through, I am left with you. Are always, you are always good. And I set my eyes on perfect faith. You'll finish what you start in me. And my heart will be an offering. And I'll trade all my fear for peace of mind. And all my heaviness for burdens light. This will be my song, as you are always good. I'll sing it all day
and every melody you're singing back to me, you're singing back, and every melody you're singing back to me, you're singing back. Oh, every melody you're singing back to me, you're singing back. And I've traded all my fear for peace of mind. You took my heaviness, my burdens light. This will be my song. You are always good. I'll sing it all day long. You are always good. And when the day is through and I am left with you, are always you are always good.
Amen. Those are some great songs. You can thank Jillian for picking those songs out. Great ones. All right. Well, I'm going to pass it over to someone giving announcements, probably. I hope you guys have a good Sunday and a good week.
Good morning. My name's Candace Gifford. If we have not yet met, I'm excited to welcome you to City Light Vineyard Church. This morning we are all virtual as it is a bit of a snowy theoretical mess out there as I'm doing this Saturday, so I'm not sure if that actually came true, but hopefully you are enjoying a nice, cozy, and safe morning in your home. If it's your first time, we'd like you to go to ourcitylight.org/connect, and what that will do will let Christian know that you joined us, and you'll get an email from Christian, and you'll get swag, and then you'll get signed up for our daily devotions. This will not be a continual spamming. It is just an introduction. So starting in 2 weeks, there will be Kids Min for children younger than kindergarten. So it'll be the first and third week of the month. So that is in 2 weeks. We have a volunteer opportunity for 1 and 7B. That is an organization that assists people who are experiencing homelessness. So they provide clothing, hygiene products, shoes, stuffed animals for kids, all of that sort of thing. So on Saturday, February 13th from 11 to 2, they will be at the Concord Pet in Hockessin at 697 Yorkland Road. And they need people to sign up to staff several stations. And you can sign up on our events page to be a part of that volunteer opportunity. So again, that is on February 13th. Also next weekend, we have a virtual youth conference. So the region is trying very hard to do something for our teens, keep them engaged, make sure that they feel some sense of normalcy in this season. So on February 12th and 13th, for our middle school and high schoolers, we will have a virtual youth conference. There will be options to watch in person at the theater and also options to watch at home. More details are going to be shared in an email and at youth group. A sign up has been sent out in last week's weekly email for announcements, as well as within the Remind app. So please do sign up because there are a couple things that go with that. And we just want to thank you for your continued generosity and giving. We do believe that it's one of the spiritual practices that brings us closer to Jesus, as well as supports all of the things that City Light is working to do to seek love and care for people like Jesus does. So if you are giving this morning, you can go to ourcitylight.org/give and give in that way. We hope you have a great Sunday and a great week, and we will see you soon. Thanks so much.
Hey everybody, welcome to City Light. I'm hoping that everything's working here. Looks like it is. Okay. Hey, my name's Christian. I'm the pastor here at City Light, and I'm excited to be welcoming you all into my house. Oh, that wasn't supposed to be there. Okay, so this is my brick wall. Isn't it nice? I thought you would appreciate it. It actually snowed this time, so that's a good thing. I woke up at 7 o'clock and looked outside, and I was like, what? I don't know if anybody else woke up. There was no snow. It had just rained. And so I actually went back to bed for a little while. I woke up at 8 and there was snow everywhere. So 7 to 8, that was a powerful time of snow. So in the comment sections, we want to have another competition because last week our winner is Bree Tulowitzki. She guessed 4.6 inches. And according to a website that we found, Newark got 4.5 inches. So Bree, you are the winner for last week, but let's get back at it. Newark, Delaware, that's what we're going to use again. Type in what you think. Actually, let's choose a different area. Let's do Landenberg, because I know we have a lot of people who live in Landenberg too. So we have a 3 kind of tri-state area, Landenberg. We have, Elkton, and we have Newark. So let's do Landenberg today. So guess, everybody online, get in the comment sections on YouTube or on Facebook and type in there what you think the snow total will be at the end of this snowstorm. So by the end of today, got to go in right now. We'll pick a winner and give it out. Okay. So type that in right now. And how's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing well. I know it's a bummer to not, for those of you who are used to meeting in person, to be able to get together, but it's also kind of nice to join so many of our friends and family who have been watching online throughout this entire year. We kind of get to all be one together today. So that's kind of nice. We are kicking off a new series today that I am very excited about. And I want to start by just showing you the intro promo video that we made about it. Pay attention to the statistics in this thing, and then we'll come back in, we'll kick it off. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I want to explain something to you if you're new to the church, or maybe you've just forgotten. Practicing the disciplines, or practicing faith, is a ongoing teaching series that we do twice a year. That's our goal. 2 to 3 times a year, probably twice a year. And so here's the idea. How do you prevent just coming to church and hearing teachings and never really letting it sink in? How do we grow in our faith? Right? And hearing teachings is great. I love that you come listen to teachings, and worshiping together is great. And those are all parts of it. But we have a passion to help people grow in faith, to grow from the inside with God out, so that it affects everything about our lives. Jesus didn't come to start a religion. He didn't come to start church services. He came to save people like you and I, and to revolutionize our lives, to take our lives and be reborn. Remember, he talks about being born again, that there's a new life, that we are a new creation in him. And so throughout the centuries since Jesus, there have been practices that people have practiced to help them grow in faith from the inside out. And how we do this and when we do this, it changes how we think, how we act, our marriages, our friendships, our workplace, how we interact with stress, how we interact with society. It really defines and shapes who we are. And so, it's not enough. And I think that some of the modern church, and myself included, over some of my life, we've lost some of that. And we've made Christianity more about, some of the things that are still good, but more about just going to church. You go to church. If you do that, you're good. And it's so much more than that, right? And maybe it's even become other things that really aren't that great. Christianity can become power. It can become guilt. It can become shame. It can become political. It can become all these things. And yet what Jesus is inviting us to is a relationship. And so I was really convicted a couple years ago that if we're going to be doing this, sorry, Chris Simmons is texting me. Chris, I'm going to call you out even when you're not here. Did I pre-teach? No, I'm teaching right now. This is live, everybody. Oh, also, I'm supposed to say that we're at my house and my dogs, you might hear them because they run around every once in a while. And for whatever reason, the floor to ceiling thickness is like 1/4 of an inch in our house. And so, okay. But I was convicted a couple years ago that, we've got to offer our church and the people coming to City Light something more. And so this is where this has come from. There's things called spiritual disciplines or spiritual practices. There's another way that it's called the rule of life. And when it was written about the rule of life, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, there were people like monks and people like that who established these things, the rule of life. And the word they would use for rule wasn't like, hey, we're going to hit you over the head. You have to follow these rules. It was like this word that meant trellis. So I want you to picture with me, and you've heard me talk about this before, but a trellis where vines grow up on the trellis. If you don't have the trellis, the vines they're on the ground and they don't produce fruit. But if we have the trellis, the vines grow up and they become fruitful and they grow, right? So that's what we want in our spiritual life. And this trellis, right? These are the spiritual practices like prayer, reading your Bible, serving your community, right? Going to church, fasting sometimes. And there's so many more like celebration, community, joy. And we're going to talk about one of those today and for this week. All right. So we're going to talk about one of those. But the whole idea is we want to start practicing these as a church. So twice a year for a month, we take one practice. We've done this already once with studying the Bible. And as a whole church, we studied the Bible together. We taught on it for 4 weeks. We got into groups so we could talk about the teachings during the week. So we're going to do all that again. And it's this idea that as we grow individually best when we grow together. Okay? So as a community, I'm inviting you to step into a month of thinking about and practicing this spiritual practice that we're going to talk about today and seeing what it does for your life. And so that's the whole idea behind practicing faith. We have a website called ourcitylight.org/practicing-faith, which I'll show you near the end. But that's going to be where we'll outline each week. We'll have a practice. We'll have something that we can do together. And then they'll have questions that you can talk about as a group. So before we do any more, we're going to take a poll together. Okay. So I want you guys to go to ourcitylight.org/poll. All right, we're going to do this together. And here, I got to get the first one up. Okay, here we go. So go on your phones, ourcitylight.org/poll. And the first question is, do you take a full 24 hours straight, okay? A full 24 hours straight off of work every week. No checking work email, no working on your... No checking work texts or anything like that. Do you take a full 24 hours straight? So I want you to start answering that right now. All right, I don't see any answers coming in yet because you guys are about 30 seconds behind me. So sorry, there's a little bit of dead time. Okay, here they come. How many people take a full 24-hour break every week? No work emails, no checking your work texts, no answering phone calls. All right, here they come in. I wish there was a way to show me how many people had voted. All right, so you should be able to see once you vote on your phone, if you scroll back up to the top, you should be able to see the results. So we're at about 55-45 right here. So, 50-50. It's about half of us do and half of us don't. That's actually a lot higher than I thought it was going to be as far as people who do. Finally got a couple votes for is that even legal? I hear that. That is a real thing. Taking a full day off of work feels like that would be impossible. Can you imagine not answering any work texts? That's the thing. Like with technology, we've gotten so we're so accessible, right? Okay, one more question. So we ended at about half and half, we'll say. Got a couple more coming in. All right, well, we're going to go to the next question now. So the next question should be up. Do you take an intentional break away from technology? Okay. Do you take any intentional breaks? Do you take a full day every month, a full day every week, a half day every week, around an hour every week? Not on accident, not like, well, yeah, I sleep. No, this is like, I am intentionally taking a break from technology because technology has an effect on my life and I want to make sure I'm not addicted to it. I want to make sure it doesn't have a hold on me. I never intentionally take a break from technology. Okay, so go ahead on your phone. Again, answer that question. You should be able to scroll to the top. You should be able to see the answers right now. Pretty much everyone doesn't, and a couple of people like my joke, which I appreciate. That, even though it totally messes up the data, I'm fine with that. Okay, so we're running at about 70% never intentionally take a break from technology. All right, we got a couple people who do a half day or an hour. Looks like one person takes a full day every month. That's pretty awesome. All right, so keep those questions, keep those answers coming in. You guys can see the results as they come in, but that's definitely a high number of us never take a break from technology. So I have a question for you guys. Does your life ever naturally give you a day of relaxation, of rest? Does your life ever just naturally give it to you? And I want to tell you, from my experience, my life does not. I never get just oh my gosh, look, I have nothing to do, right? I have nothing to do today. I might as well take a break, right? So I've got work, and with work, like if you're like me, there's always more to do, right? So I've got this to-do list that you start at on Monday, and throughout the week, you start adding more things to the to-do list, right? So it's like, just like by the end of the week, it didn't really shrink. Maybe some things got crossed off and you put some new things on. And I'm always on call. Like, I don't know how many of you have professions like this, but like it's become everywhere. Like I remember when my dad, the transition to like technology kind of grew. I remember my dad going from like just, he worked a work day when he was home, that was it. And then all of a sudden he got email. I remember the dawn of email for him. And then he had work at home and he was expected to do that. And now we have cell phones. Everywhere we go, you can be at the park with your kids and you can get a work email, a work text, a work phone call, right? You can be on a date and you can get a work email, text, phone call. So there's just, you're completely 100% accessible. If you're a stay-at-home parent, let me ask you, is your work ever done? No, like your work is never done if you're a stay-at-home parent. It's like laundry, kids, dinner, cleaning, shopping, laundry, kids, dinner, cleaning, shopping. And it's like this endless cycle. And every time you get ahead on one, you fall behind on another one, right? Home projects, right? You have your stuff that you want to get done, the stuff that you have to get done, and the stuff that breaks, right? You just constantly have projects to do. So when you actually do have kind of a day off of work, like Saturday and Sunday, you get up and you start working. Don't you? You start working on stuff. You start getting stuff done. You start shopping. You start spending more money. You start doing laundry. You start doing home projects. If you have kids, depending on your stage of life, you wake up on your day off and you have to drive them all over the place. You have to go, chase the American dream of all of your kids being professional athletes, right? You have to, if they're little, there's like, you got to get them into music class and dance class and swimming class and soccer class and art class. And that's on top of class. And right. It's just, there's always more. There's always more for us to partake of. There's always more for us to do. And in our culture, like it's, to be busy is like a badge of honor. To say, how are you doing? Busy. Oh, I've been busy. I've actually, since I've been thinking about this and working on this, I've been trying to think of other responses when people ask me how I've been doing. Is that really how I define my life? Like, how have you been doing? I have been busy. And what does that communicate? That communicates that you should think highly of me because we esteem busyness above all else in our culture. And so if I'm busy, I'm doing good, right? Or I've been busy, so busy. Like, maybe you can feel a little sorry for me, but at the same time, I'm communicating that, like, this is a good thing. I'm not like, listen, I've really been struggling lately. I've been busy. And you're like, oh, you've been busy? Like, that's not how it works. Busyness is this badge of honor. We work more so that we can earn more, so that we can get more. But then when you get more, you need to keep getting more because it's not the newest thing anymore. You need to get the next newest thing. Or if you get more, it breaks and you have to fix it, right? And so then you have to work more so that you can earn more, so that you can get more and maintain more and fix more and stay ahead more and get the next iPhone and get the next Apple Watch and get the next car and get the new washing machine. Our washing machine broke this week, you know? And it's like stuff like that just keeps happening. The more you earn, the more you have to spend, the more you have to get. You know, like people, the more they earn, rarely do they save more. They just find ways to spend it. I was driving past a house yesterday, and it's like a very wealthy house. And I noticed that next to the house, they had a dog house. And then by the pond, they had like a pond house. And all of the houses had the exact same siding and roof tiles, shingles on them. The doghouse even had a ramp with a railing up to it. And I thought, you know, some people have so much money, they're just like, I need to figure out a way to spend this money. Like, it's not coming to me naturally. And my question, you know, is like, we keep chasing and chasing and chasing. It's like running a race with no finish line. You just keep going. Do you have a goal? Like, what are you shooting for in all of your busyness, in all of your errands, in all of your shopping, in all of your working, in all of your driving your kids, in all of your rush, hurry? What's the goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Because you know what? I think the truth is it's never going to be enough. I want to share a quote with you from John Mark Comer. I've been reading his book a lot, and it really is powerful. See, John Mark Comer is a pastor in Portland. He does an incredible podcast named This Cultural Moment, and he's also written a book that I'm going to tell you about at the end of the teaching. He says, ultimately, nothing in this life apart from God can satisfy our desires. Tragically, we continue to chase after our desires ad infinitum. The result? A chronic state of restlessness, or worse, anger, angst, anxiety, disillusionment, depression, all of which lead to a life of hurry, a life of busyness, overload, shopping, materialism, careerism, a life of more, which in turn makes us even more restless, and the cycle spirals out of control. And to make a bad problem worse, this is exacerbated by our cultural moment of digital marketing from a society built around the twin gods of accumulation and accomplishment. Advertising is literally an attempt to monetize our restlessness. They say we see upward of 4,000 ads a day, all designed to stoke the fire of desire in our bellies. Buy this, do this, eat this, drink this, have this, watch this, be this. It will never be enough. And so how do we decide when to stop? How do we decide when to stop moving, stop running, stop chasing? I want to look at the difference between restful and restless. Are you more restful or restless? When someone asks you, hey, how you doing? Do you say, I've got margin? Right? No, you say, I'm busy. Like, are you ever driving your car and purposely you slow down and just enjoy the drive? I've been working on this lately. Because when I drive, I'm always in a hurry. And I've noticed something about me is that if there's someone in front of me who's going the exact same speed that I would go if they weren't in front of me, I'm bothered. Like internally, I'm frustrated, and I can feel it. I'm like frustrated. I'm upset, and so I'm like, and I'll get up close to them, and I'm like, and I'll maybe even pass them legally, but then I'll like just go the same speed limit. I just don't like the feeling of someone slowing me down because I'm in a hurry. Is your life more likely to be quiet or noisy? Are you right now enjoying deep relationships, or do you feel alone? Are you having delight in your life or distraction? Do you have a lot of clarity or do you have a lot of confusion? Are you experiencing love, joy, peace, or anger, sadness, and anxiety? The more we go, the less connected we are from God. Hurry is one of the greatest, in fact, Dallas Willard says that, hurry is one of the greatest enemies of spiritual health. Because think about all the things we want in life. love, we want joy, we want peace, all the fruit of the Spirit. We want patience, hurry, rushing, the greed for more. It fights against all those things. You can't love in a hurry. You can't be joyful in a hurry. You can't be patient in a hurry. So my question is, guys, what are we doing to ourselves? I've been so convicted about this for a couple of years now. And I've been working on this, and so I've been kind of passionate about sharing this with you guys. I believe that what we're going to talk about this month can actually change your life. I think it could bring you more joy, more love, more hope. It could deepen your relationship with God. It could deepen your relationships with others. It could actually help you mentally. It could help you physically. It could actually bring healing to your body. Seriously, I'm telling you, this practice is maybe the most important. Okay, I'll probably say that about all of them, but it's up there, right? It's up there. Do we have time to be real people, to have emotions? Do we have time to experience life to the fullest? Think about that. Are you living right now in the fullness of God's desires for your life? One author said this: a successful life has become a violent enterprise. We make war on our own bodies, pushing them beyond their limits. War on our children because we can't find enough time to be with them when they're hurt and afraid and need our company. War on our spirit because we're too preoccupied to listen to the quiet voices that seek to nourish and refresh us. War on our communities because we're fearfully protecting what we have. John Tyson, another pastor in New York City that I appreciate and I listen to sometimes, talks about this. He says, this is when we choose to rest. If this is like the battery icon for our life, okay? When we don't rest unless we get totally depleted, totally drained, and then we're running on 10%, and then maybe we take a break, take a couple hours off, or take a vacation, right? Like, so before me practicing this practice, I used to take a vacation a year, 1 week a year, but like that was it. Is that really what we're built for? So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll get to this place where we'll get depleted enough to maybe take a day off. Like, whoa, I've been really going too hard. I need a morning off. I need an afternoon off. But what we'll do is we'll only rest up to a point, and then we'll stop. And we won't ever get into this area where there's true, full, complete replenishing. It's like never completely, fully charging your phone. And the thing is, just operating in maintenance mode. So you might be like, well, yeah, I take a day off every now and then, Christian. What I want to argue is that, are we really recharging all the way fully to where we are experiencing the fullness of God's life for us? And when we do this, when we operate the way that God created us to operate, not only does this one day off change, but it changes the other 6 days in our life too. So my main point today is your life won't let you rest unless you force it to, okay? You're not going to just stumble into this. You're not going to accidentally have a healthy amount of rest in your life. You need to make this a discipline or a practice. And I choose the word practice because I think discipline has some negative connotations. I don't agree with that. I think discipline's a good thing. Okay, I think it's good to be disciplined, and we see fruit and benefit in our lives when we're disciplined, but practice works for me too. I like the idea of a practice because I like to practice things. I practice guitar, I practice soccer, I practice preaching, I practice the things that I love and that I want to grow in. And that's why we're going to talk about spiritual practices. So the spiritual practice that we want to talk about this month is called Sabbath, okay? And so what is God's answer to the restlessness, to the hurry, to the materialism, to the constant go, chase? The answer is Sabbath. And that might sound like a really weird word to you. Unless you were raised Jewish, you probably don't know that word. Some Christian churches talk about it. But Sabbath literally just means to stop. It's the stop day. And I've talked about it before at City Light, and I will talk about it again. I'm a firm believer that this is actually God's beautiful gift to us. And I think that if you've grown up outside the church, it might seem strange to you. If you've grown up inside the church, it might seem like a religious or fundamentalist burden to be put on you. And I want to just make an argument today that it's neither of those things, that it's actually a beautiful gift that God would give to us. Just answer this question. Just think. Just dream with me, okay? Just dream with me for a second here. If you could take 24 hours and do whatever would bring you deep, deep joy, a sense of contentment, a sense of peace, what would you do? See, here's the problem. Only Americans can turn a day off into getting more done, and only religious people can turn a day off into a day to observe a bunch of rules, right? I mean, and that's why Sabbath, listen, is more than a day off. And this is where I've been changing over the last couple of years. Mandy and I have observed Sabbath throughout the course of our lives as a married couple in one way or another, usually very loosely defined as don't do any work that makes you money. And that's kind of been my definition of Sabbath. But over the last few years, I have been challenged and convicted that Sabbath is really way more than that. It's way, like, that's the entrance point. That's like the starting point. But next week, I'm going to talk about how Sabbath, what do you do on a day off for God? That's the difference. A day off or a day of being in connection with God. And so we're going to talk about three things next week: rest, delight, and connection. And what I never understood was that actually Sabbath is meant to be something for me. It's not like, hey, observe this rule. Here's another law. Here's another rule you need to follow. Don't work on the seventh day. That's a very small piece. But really what it is it's an invitation to do what you love. And I'm telling you, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my Sabbath as we go through this, but here's yesterday, okay? So my Sabbath is whenever I end work on Friday until 24 hours from that time, usually 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock-ish, okay? And I won't do any work. And I've been developing and working on my Sabbath the last couple of years. So don't take this as like, I have to do all these things. This is for me. You need to find what would work for you. You need to pray about it and think about it and talk about it and come to something that would give you life, not something that would be a burden. Now, just because it's not a burden doesn't mean doesn't require effort. We're going to get into that, okay? So for me, I got off work and went up to upstairs, and it was getting close to dinner time. So we ordered out. We got Chinese food, and we sat around the table together as a family. We ate Chinese, and then we played a new card game that we bought, and we just had a phenomenal time. All things I love: eating takeout, playing games. Okay, and then then when the kids kind of went to go do their own thing, I laid on the couch and I read my book. Love it. And then I watched TV with Mandy before we went to bed. Love it. Okay. Then I slept in. It's pretty much the only day of the week that I get to sleep in. Some Sabbaths, I won't even set an alarm. I'll just see what happens. Sometimes I will set an alarm because I like waking up in the morning. But I sleep at least an hour and a half more. Got up in the morning. I just chilled with Eden. We finished a movie that we've been watching. So we cuddled on the couch and watched a movie. Doesn't this sound life-giving? I mean, being with my family, eating, relaxing, not in a hurry, right? It's just so refreshing. It's so new and life-giving. To close out my Sabbath last night, I took my daughters to get ice cream. Ice cream's always part of my Sabbath. That's what I've decided. Go get some ice cream. I went with a friend, did some stuff with a friend. I even got a massage yesterday. Now listen, that's not something I do all the time, but I've been having some shoulder pain, so I went and got a massage. Yes, this is Sabbath. This is what it looks like. What brings you life? A lot of times I'll take my dog outside and just play with my dog. Here's the thing. We've lost it. The church has lost, for the most part, the definition of Sabbath. Sabbath has largely been forgotten by the church, which has uncritically mimicked, listen guys, please read this, uncritically mimicked the rhythms of the industrial and success-obsessed West. That's hard to say. The result? So what he's saying there is the church should be giving the gift to the world of the Sabbath, of the work 6 days, rest 1 day. That's the rhythm of God. Work 6 days, rest 1 day. But we've adopted the rhythm of the world, which is work, 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 go, 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 go. The result? Our road-weary, exhausted churches have largely failed to integrate Sabbath into their lives as vital elements of Christian discipleship. It is not as though we do not love God. We love God deeply. We just do not know how to sit with God anymore. We've become perhaps the most emotionally exhausted, psychologically overworked, spiritually malnourished people in history. Can you hear that? Does that describe you even a little bit? Emotionally exhausted, psychologically overworked, spiritually malnourished. Does that describe you even a little bit? It describes me. I can feel it. But the Sabbath practice that I've started getting into is something that I actually look forward to through the week. Now, Mandy's texting me and saying, Christian, don't misrepresent our family. I get it. Like, that is my experience of Sabbath. But like, obviously, I also did a project in the house. But I did that project because I actually like doing that kind of stuff. So I felt like that was okay. We obviously still have to take our kids places. And this is a thing that we're developing as a family, that we're growing into. Obviously, we still have like responsibilities and all that kind of stuff. But I'm working on it and Mandy is working on it. So, all right, Mandy is now texting other people. Come on, honey, I'm on. All right, I'm going to silence these suckers. Real life, guys, real life. Okay. We do have real life, but Mandy and I both do this. Now, Mandy takes a different kind of Sabbath. Right now, she takes it on Sundays, and she won't do anything around the house that is like kind of stuff that drains her, right? So she won't do laundry, she won't do dishes. I try to make it so she doesn't cook dinner, try to give her a break from those things. She won't do any work that she makes money for. She observes it a little bit differently. I make it more about, resting and treats and stuff, and she does it a little bit differently. She loves to work out, so she'll work out. But those are, that's why you have to figure it out for yourself, okay? Okay, so let's look at the scripture real quickly. We have about 10 minutes left, and I want to just share with you why I think this is so important, okay? So, let's just start with the 10 Commandments. Some people would say, hey, there's no, the Sabbath is old, it's the 10 Commandments, you don't have to follow those anymore. I want you just to look at the 10 Commandments. So when Jesus says that he came to fulfill the law, he also says he did not abolish it. We're going to look at that in a second. Right? So Jesus said he came to fulfill the law, not abolish it. Which of these 10 would you guys get rid of? Which of these 10 do you think we shouldn't? Should we stop honoring our parents? Should we start killing people, start stealing? Should we start worshiping idols? I mean, you look at these 10, these are all still true. And yet we circle, keep the Sabbath, and we take it out and we're like, that one seems old. We don't have to do that one. That one's too hard. We don't have to do that one. That one cost me something. I don't have to do that. But actually, Sabbath, it ties all of that together. There is something so powerful in Sabbath. This is when he was first given the 10 Commandments in Exodus 20, and God told Moses, remember the Sabbath day. Why do you think he said to remember it? Because he knew that people would forget to do the Sabbath day. Remember it. 6 days you'll labor and do all your work. The seventh day is a Sabbath, a stop, a cease to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you or your son or your daughter, your family, anybody who works for you. 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, but he rested on the seventh day. God connects this command back into the creation order of the world. On the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested. This is Genesis 2. We're going all the way back to the beginning. The second chapter of the entire Bible, God blessed the seventh day and made it holy because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. So in Exodus, okay, the Israelites have been slaves for 400 years and God delivers them from the hand of Egypt and they go into the wilderness, and so they have no government system. They have nothing to lead them. They have no king, and they're just out there, this huge nation. So God gives them these 10 laws, right? Here's how to love God. Here's how to love others. That's why I broke them up like that. This is what Jesus was summarizing. Most important thing, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. And built into there is this idea of Sabbath, because there'll be more about this next week, but they were coming out of a culture where they were the slaves, where they were working 24/7, where they were being driven by an economy that depended on their work, and they drove and drove and drove, literally slave drivers driving them, make bricks, and then in your spare time collect stuff to make bricks, so that, and then all the money and resources can flow up to the top. In fact, they had storehouses that they were building to contain the wealth of the Pharaoh because he couldn't spend it. Sound familiar? Egypt was a lot like America. We're going to talk more about that later in the series. But they were driving and working and working and working and working. And so one of the most important things that God did, right? He established love God, love your neighbor, and don't work like a slave. Work from love. Work from relationship with God and relationship with others. Work for 6, take 1 off, because God rested. Listen to this. I don't have enough time, Christian. God rested. You need to start thinking about this. But Christian, you don't know my life. God rested. But Christian, I have little kids. Yeah, I know. We were there. We've been there. And your stage of life will change what it looks like. But if God rested, he's inviting you to rest. In fact, I believe it's built into the fabric of the universe for you to succeed and to thrive. Remember the battery thing. For you to flourish in your faith and in your life, you need to take a day of Sabbath every week. I believe it 100% with all of my being. It's very interesting. If you look at these verses, God blessed 3 things when he created. So he created for 6 days, and only 3 things. God blessed them and said, verse 22 is the animals. He said, be fruitful and multiply and cover the face of the earth. 28, he blessed humans. Be fruitful and multiply and rule over all the animals. And then in chapter 2, he blessed a day. What? He actually blessed a day in his creation order. Think about that. He creates the 7 days, and then he blesses a day, and he says that day will be holy. It will be set apart. And then in Exodus, when they come out of captivity, he says, remember this 7th day and keep it holy. Keep it set apart because I rested, and I want you to rest. I want you to consider that if you've been taught that the Old Testament doesn't apply to our lives anymore, that's not talking about the 10 Commandments. There's a whole bunch of ritual, what we call ceremonial law. How to cut your sheep when you sacrifice it, right? And there's a whole bunch of cultural law, like what you can eat. But the moral laws from the Old Testament, Jesus didn't abolish them, okay? Hold on, let me get you there. Do not think, this is Jesus in Matthew 5, do not think that I came to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. I want you to hear that. If you were raised in a church that told you that, maybe it's time to revisit that, okay? And so I want to just make another point. Later on, we do the 10 Commandments again. This is in Deuteronomy, we're kind of going over the law. And he says it a little bit differently. He says, observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. And the Lord your God has commanded you. Observe the Sabbath day. So I want you to remember these 2 words. Remember the Sabbath day and observe the Sabbath day. What they tell you is that this takes intentionality. Does that make sense? This takes intentionality. You won't rest unless you make a choice to rest. Okay? Your life won't let you rest unless you force your life to submit to you, to your discipline, to your practice, and choose to rest. Because your soul needs to rest. Remember how we're suffering violence by trying to keep up with this world. Violence on our souls, on our minds, on our bodies, on our families, on our friends. That we're the most overworked, psychologically stressed. You know, there's even doctors have diagnosed something called hurry sickness. And people who have this hurry sickness, who have higher stress, they have higher blood pressure, they have higher rates of heart failure. I mean, you know this stuff. And we just all think it doesn't apply to us. We all think that's just somebody else. I can do it. You know, we believe these lies of like that we're infinite. See, here's the thing that's like so powerful. God is infinite and he rested. You are not infinite. You are finite and you don't rest. Think about that. We go thinking we're never going to run out. I heard somebody say one time that you will either practice Sabbath as a practice or you will practice it as a discipline. And what they meant was you'll either choose Sabbath or Sabbath will choose you, because you'll get knocked out somehow. You'll get burned out. You'll get sick. You'll get injured. We can't keep going. Our body will shut us down. Our psychological self will shut us down. We will break relationships with people. Eventually, the constant go and chasing of what we don't even know we're chasing after will break us. We must choose to stop or we'll get stopped. It's just built into the system. It's built into how things work. No matter how much I want to, when I drive my car and it runs out of gas, I can't keep driving. I've done it before. I've tried. I remember calling my dad in college. I broke down on College Avenue and I called and said, Dad, you got to come pick me up. I can't start the car. It won't go. No matter how much I want it to go, it won't because it's out of gas. That's how it's built. It's built to need gas. You're built that way. And we just don't believe it. We live in a society that doesn't believe that. But that doesn't make it not true. There's a lot of stuff that we aren't, that the society doesn't believe about the Bible. But as a follower of Jesus, you're invited to do this. And why wouldn't we? Can I just tell you that I would do this even if I didn't have to? This is a gift. This is a gift. Only like religious people, like I said this before, can take something that's so beautiful and so good and make it a burden and make it something that we need to find excuses for not doing, right? So it's intentional. Observe, remember, okay? That's what the call is. Okay, all right, I know, I got to wrap this up. Okay, so in another place, Jesus was talking to some Pharisees who were really, religious, okay, in how they practiced the Sabbath. And so he has this confrontation with them, and they're like, hey, why are you picking grain off of the wheat? And he has a conversation with them about like, hey, you got this all wrong. See, they made Sabbath a religious burden, and they wrote out all these tiny little laws and rules, and Sabbath wasn't something they looked forward to. It wasn't a delight. It wasn't a joy. It was a burden. Sabbath came, it was like, so many laws. I can't walk this far. All right. Jesus says this. I want to show you two things. Jesus says in one place, unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees, you will not inherit the kingdom of God. How could your righteousness surpass the Pharisees? They're uber righteous. What he meant was it's not about just obeying every tiny little thing. All right. It's about relationship. It's about getting into relationship with Jesus. And then in another place where he was confronted about Sabbath, he told them this. He said, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. His point being, look, you're not serving the Sabbath. And they were making it that way. They're making it this huge burden that no one could carry. He's like, you're not serving the Sabbath. The Sabbath was created to serve you. The Sabbath was made for you. I made this gift for you. I built the system so that you have to take one day out of every 7 and stop. Stop from your chasing. Stop from your going. Stop from your working. Stop and enjoy. Enjoy and rest. In fact, Jesus says, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Jesus is inviting you. He's saying, come to me. Are you overworked? Are you burdened? Is your body, can you feel it in your body? Can you feel the stress in your body? Can you feel it psychologically? Can you feel it spiritually? Do you feel disconnected from God and people? Come to me. Ironically, or maybe not ironically, 2 stories about Sabbath are told right after this verse. Come to me and I will give you rest. God's inviting you to practice this way to be human again. This way to connect with your emotions again. This way to connect with your friends and your family. This way to worship. This way to appreciate God's creation. So we're going to press into this. I'm hoping to stretch you and challenge you. I'm hoping to stretch and challenge myself. I think there's more to Sabbath than just taking a day off. I do. And so wherever you are in this, like no guilt and shame, okay? If you've never taken a day off or you've never practiced Sabbath at all, great. Let's all start somewhere and start taking the next step. There's no shame in this. But I hope that you're hearing some of what the Lord is saying through this, okay? Your life won't let you rest unless you force it to let you rest. So here's what we're going to do, okay? For this month, I have 3 more teachings on the Sabbath. We're gonna dive into what you do on the Sabbath, and we're gonna look at some reasons to Sabbath, and it's gonna really be powerful for us, I believe. It's been really powerful for me as I'm reading and studying on our website. Okay, do I have a slide with this on here? Yeah, ourcitylight.org/practicing-faith. If you go there this week, okay, you will find the practice. So there's literally every week there's a thing to do. So go read it, and basically what you're going to do is try to take a Sabbath this week. Define it yourself. There's some real good pointers on the webpage. And I want you to take a day this week and try it. And if you can't do a whole day, start somewhere. Start with 8 hours. Start with 12 hours. I really encourage you to get to 24, but start with something and try it and read about it on Practicing Faith. You can email me if you have questions. The other thing I want to do is I want to encourage you to talk to friends about it. So here's what's really going to stretch some of you. If you're in a small group, that's great. I'm going to ask all the small groups just to check in about this. You can still do your other content, but I want you to check in about the practice. There's questions for small group about the practice on our website as well at practicingfaith.com. If you're not in a small group, here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. I want to challenge you just for this month to join a triad. Now, a triad is 3 people. You can make your own triad. You don't even have to tell me about it, okay? Pick 2 friends and say, hey, let's talk for a half an hour every week about how Sabbath has gone. I know that's crazy, right? Some of you are like, let's just lean into this and see. I think that there's more to faith and following Jesus than just going to church. And I want to encourage you to be part of that. If you want to be put into a triad, if you go to that same webpage, there's a button that says join a group, and you fill out your information, I'll connect you to another triad. Okay? So triads, practice it, talk about it. And if you want to read a book, I've put 2 books and a video on that page as well under resources that you can connect with. Okay? One of the books that I really highly recommend you reading is this, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. I bought this for everyone in our leadership team, all of our small group leaders. I've asked them all to read it, and they've really enjoyed it. It is life-changing. It is. I can't do all the things he's talking about right now. He's very aggressive in how he does things, but he talks about the downsides of hurry in the culture we live in. And then he talks about 4 practices that he practices to stay away from that and stay detached from the hurry and materialism and greed. It's powerful. So I'd encourage you to read that. Okay, so that's it for today. Okay, I hope that this has been encouraging. Again, listen to me. No guilt, no shame. Wherever you are, and just take that next step. So maybe it's taking half a day off, but remember, it's more than a day off. Make it about God. I always start my Sabbath with a prayer, and I say, God, I'm starting my Sabbath. I commit this Sabbath to you, and let me focus on rest and delight and connection. And I'll just spend a moment in being quiet, letting the rat race of my work and life go away, and then I'll start it. And then I always end it with a prayer too. People have a lot of different things they do to start and end. There's actually a list of them on our website. But take a day, as much as you can, and practice it this week, and then talk to someone about it. So the triads would actually start meeting next week, okay? So talk to someone about it, and go. Let's do it. Let's do this together. Hopefully, we will be some of us in person next week and some of us online. We'll see. Who knows how many more snowstorms there are. But love you guys. So honored to be walking this journey of faith with you together. Let's just close in a word of prayer. Father, we thank you for your love. We thank you for the gift of Sabbath that you've given us. Thank you that it's not a burden. God, I just want to speak those words over everyone in our church now. That when you say, come to me, all who are burdened, and I will give you rest. Let our souls hear that call to come to you and find rest in you alone. Help us as we try to do something new, to try this practice. Give us grace, give us strength. Amen. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Connect with us over social media this week. We're always putting stuff out, and sign up for those a bunch of the events that Candace talked about, especially the 1 in 7B. We need like 6 or 7 more people to sign up. So go to our website and do that. All right. See you guys.